This is TWiT. Let's bring in Sri Lanka into this because the horrific bombings in Sri Lanka and hundreds dead. Very sad. One of the topics that came up, though, on TWiT on Sunday was the fact that the government in Sri Lanka shut down social media shortly thereafter, saying it's problematic, it's inciting violence. And I, at the time, twisted it to serve my anti-Facebook Techno Valley politics.
I knew you would.
And I'm quoting from a tweet by Yuhajana. I can't pronounce it.
This is a great thread. This is a killer.
For the love of whatever you hold holy, right? Stop twisting this incident to serve your anti-Facebook Techno Valley politics. Right now, in a country with tight government controls on traditional media, social media is a boon for us. To make an effort to understand, violence in Sri Lanka began before social media, internet, telephony. To a large extent, much of race hatred is still fueled by print media in this country. You want to point fingers, at least do your research into a complex history. Take a look at statements by local politicians, see how they are reacting. Look, this is too much work for American journalists, but okay. Look up the patterns of violence around elections, race issues, politics. Leave your biases and baggage at the door. Keep in mind that some of the voices you will hear pontificating are not from, what is hashtag IKA?
It was where the bombing was, I think.
Okay, and have not been for decades, and understand the zeitgeist about as much as my cat understands Twitter. Look for local journalists on the hashtag LKA tag. Sri Lanka, I don't know. Anyway, whether you like it or not, the overwhelming mind share of your platforms have enabled you to set the global narrative around Sri Lanka. Do your job, be responsible. So what he's saying is, in fact, social media is the truth teller in this case, not the mainstream media in Sri Lanka.
And a way that another thread, which I think I put in right above there on the rundown, said it's also a way you can find your family. There's a lot here that, again, goes to the people who are not in power, who have communication. Do bad things happen there? Yes. Do the bad guys use it? But the truth is, you close social media, the bad guys are going to plenty of platforms and means they have.
Yeah,
it's the victims who don't have a means anymore.
Yeah, so that is really important and interesting point, and highlights how hard it is to judge this stuff because of cultural assumptions, whether it's Austin versus Kansas or the U.S. versus Sri Lanka.
Is Kara Swisher jumped on to her? She had a New York Times column and jumped in quickly to say that her first reaction was she was happy about this, and a lot of people sent her a lot, including Rasmus Kleist-Nielsen at the Oxford Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism, got researchers out who were talking about what the research is of what happens when you shut down these kinds of networks. It doesn't, but according to the research thus far, it doesn't end the violence. And so we've got to deal with the reality and evidence of what's really happening rather than these emotional responses.
Is it still shut down?
I don't know. I was wondering that myself.
Yeah. So if it were, that would confirm this, which is basically it's the government saying we want to tightly control the story, probably in our favor, as opposed to let original and honest voices come out. See, in the United States, it's usually, well, at least we hope, we feel like it's the opposite, that social media is where amplification occurs for all the, weird dystopian and violent.
No, we just in the media tend to focus on those things. I mean, again, you see some really good things, Black Lives Matter,
like
Me Too,
this,
all of that
like
came
this
up
tweet.
from that.
This is very informative. This is hugely valuable. It's good. It's great. So that is the value of Twitter. So there you go.